I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit. All right, y'all. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. Woo! How y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's Wednesday, August 9th, 67 degrees in Kitsap County. So glad you could join us for a special edition of The Conduit. Special edition, y'all. Man, it's been so long. Seems like I've been gone. Hiatus, vacation. I've actually been busier than ever. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this thing. You gotta get into it. 20 reasons you fail at your resolution. You know, it's August 9th. We're halfway through the year, y'all. We're halfway through. This year is flying by. I don't know where it's going, but it is quickly behind us, and 2024 is going to be here before we know it. True story? True story. As such, many of us make these New Year's resolutions. We're like, oh, I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. This, that, and the other. This, that, and the third. Is that what they say? This, that, and the third. We're going to do all these different things, and it's going to be great. And year after year, some people are, they're successful in their New Year's resolution. Some people, they get started and they get going strong. You see them on Facebook, they're posting right there at the gym. Hey, look at me, I'm here. And then 2 or 3 weeks, 6 weeks later, 2 months later, you don't see those posts anymore. They're done, right? Some people, they talk about it, but they never start it. Let's get in and talk a little bit on why. And I think if we have an understanding on why these things happen, why it is so difficult, then maybe we can overcome and we're able to go ahead and be successful in our goals and what we want to do. Okay. So the first one is lack of specificity. Unclear goals can make it really hard to measure progress and to stay motivated. You hear me talk about SMART goals all the time. And SMART goals are a really great way to put yourself in a position where that goal is specific, you can measure it, it's obtainable, right? It's realistic, which a lot of times we don't do, right? We want to lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks, and then we need a time frame. And so we'll have that time frame, but a lot of times it's not realistic. So you want your goal to be specific, right? And you want it to be challenging, but not so challenging that you cannot make it. So that is really important. And again, that's really that number 2 piece, which is what I'm talking about, right? Those unrealistic expectations. Setting overly ambitious goals. This can lead to frustration and discouragement. Because as soon as we can't keep up with that, a lot of times we're like, man, I knew I couldn't do this. It's too much. Now, I will tell you my own stories, right? And protect the innocent. But, there's times that I'm like, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna start going to the gym. And what I'm gonna do is I want to pick up where I left off at 6 months ago or a year before when I was going to the gym. So I'm gonna, get in 5 miles in an hour. And so you go at this clip and you injure yourself. And so immediately now you're back down for 3 weeks. And by the time that 3 weeks is over, your life has changed and now that's no longer a goal. I don't know if that has happened to you, but that has definitely happened to me. Unrealistic expectations is a big one, really big one there. So again, that R in your SMART goal needs to be realistic. Okay. Lack of planning. You need to have a well-defined plan. Otherwise, it's really easy to get off of what it is that you're trying to do. So you know what you want to do, right? Man, I'm gonna lose this weight. I'm gonna quit smoking. I'm smoking 2 packs a day. I'm gonna get down to a pack a day. But what are you going to do when you really want that cigarette, that after dinner cigarette, or that after meal cigarette, or that morning cigarette with your cup of coffee? What's going to be that alternative? What are you going to do when your stress level is high and that what you normally reach for is that cigarette? What is it going to be? And so lack of planning, not having a defined plan is another reason why our plans fail, right? Our resolutions fail. Number 4 is a lack of motivation. We have this initial enthusiasm, right? It's New Year's. Oh, we going now. And it fades, right? See, part of the issue is you need to stay committed, but in order to stay committed, that's a lifestyle change. I'm going to go and I'm going to walk 4 times a week. I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. When are you going to go? They say it takes 21 days to create a habit. And so it could be very difficult in staying motivated. In the beginning, you're gung-ho, right? You got your grocery list, you did your research, you got all the good food in the house, you got bad food out of the house, right? You got your plan, you're all set. 2 weeks in, you're still doing it. 3 weeks, it's raining outside, man, I don't feel like going out. Oh, this event is going on, I got to go over here. Next thing you know, man, I'm not really feeling it. This is kind of whatever. And you lose that motivation. That enthusiasm is gone. So it's hard for you to stay committed. You begin cheating, right? It's a birthday party. I'll go ahead and have the cake. I'll go ahead and have that ice cream. Oh, it's an office lunch. I'll go ahead and have the pizza today. But your cheat day that you gave yourself was the day before, right? Number 5, like I was saying, lifestyle. A change in your lifestyle, altering and establishing those habits require an effort. And it's probably going to disrupt your daily routine. A lot of us say, you know what, we need to get more sleep. I'm one of those people. Well, how are you going to get more sleep if you're working into the night? How are you going to get more sleep if you're not setting boundaries? How are you going to get more sleep if you lay on the bed and then you're watching your shows or you're going through your phone? Again, that's why you have to have that well-defined plan. I'm going to get in the bed at 10 o'clock. From 10 to 10:30, I'm going to read something that's not on my phone. My television is going to be set on a timer. And then I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to wake up at this time. And again, it takes a while for these things to become a habit, right? But these are lifestyle changes. So if you don't have a set bedtime and you're going to bed at 2 in the morning and 12:30 in the morning, and it's just all over the place, really hard for you to make that change. It's just like, again, if you're trying to change what you eat, what you consume, and you're constantly at different meetings and they always have all this great food and you don't have an alternative, you're going to indulge, right? You're hungry, you're rushing. Well, I got to eat because it's there. It smells good. Maybe I'll just have a lighter dinner. Maybe I'll, and then you just keep on negotiating with yourself until you're just doing the same thing you were doing before. Number 6 is a big one. Social pressure. Now, resolutions can be driven by external expectations, but they can lack personal investment. You'll hear a lot of people say, if you really want to change something, you have to do it for you. If you're doing it for someone else, if you're doing it for your spouse, if you're doing it for a loved one, it may not stick because you're not doing it for yourself. You have to make that decision. This is what I want for me. Otherwise, really hard to keep it going. Now, sometimes that can help you the other way. If you get started, that social pressure can help you to maintain it. But a lot of times that pressure causes issues. Number 7 is one that I have all the time. And a lot of people that I talk with, they also suffer from this. They have an all or nothing attitude, right? Either I've got to go to bed at a certain time. I need to drink 8 glasses of water. I've got to eat perfectly. I can't have a cheat day. I've got to go to the gym 5 times a week. And if I don't do any of those things, then it just failed. Because that's the only way that I'm going to achieve my goal, my resolution. So anything short of that is a failure. So it's got to be all. I can't walk 2 days a week and say, you know what, man, you're not sedentary. You're moving around. You cut down that pack from 20 to 15 a day. No, no, no. I need to just quit. I need to get rid of that pack altogether. That may be true, but that thinking often results in failure of our goals. Number 8 is a big one. Lack of accountability. A lot of times we won't look at ourselves and say, hey, we are the captains of our own ship. We will make a lot of excuses about our locus of control, right? It's all these outside factors. Well, if I wasn't going through all this stress, if my spouse wasn't doing this, that, or the other, if my situation wasn't this way, then I could do what I was trying to do. We have to be accountable for our actions and our thoughts. I've told you before, one of my mentors in my master's program, Marty Drummond, she was an awesome instructor. She would say, I think it was Drummondale, no stinking thinking. You know, going to teach in the classroom. So you got to get away from that stinking thinking. You got to think positively. But part of that is being accountable. Are you accountable? Are you able to say, this is me, this is on me, and this is why it's on me? This is why I've chosen to do this or why I've chosen not to do this. And not because I'm so busy, not because it's late. Well, I can't afford a gym membership. When I get done, it's just so late. I'm dealing with so much stress that's why I'm smoking, right? It's all the stress. Then the question has to be, then what are you doing to reduce your stress? If you're going to work meetings and they always have these delicious foods, why are you not packing your lunch like you did when you were in grade school? Right? You're an adult now, so you can pack it with a lot of really good things. Lack of accountability. That's a huge one. Number 9, short-term focus. You can lose interest if you do not see immediate results. And again, that kind of goes with the goals at the beginning, right? We will set these unrealistic goals. I need to lose this much in this amount of time. There's a wedding coming up at the end of the month, and I need to lose 10 pounds. And you start off, right? You're doing great. The first 2 days, the first 48, and I had my water. I got up early. I went walking. I even got 2 days in. I went walking in the morning. I went to the gym. I made great decisions. And then you hop on the scale on the night of day 2, and you're like, oh man, I didn't lose any weight. Matter of fact, I might have gained some weight. You start to lose interest because you're not getting the results fast enough for you. So that's another one that gets us down. Number 10 is one that we don't often talk about. Lack of self-compassion. We are our own worst critics, oftentimes, especially if we are being accountable. And so oftentimes when we do mess up, you know what? I really wanted that pizza. You know what? I was stressed out, and my goal was, if I'm stressed, keep it to 1 cigarette, but I smoked 3. But what happens is we start beating up on ourselves for failing in that moment. We need that self-compassion to overcome. For athletes out there, golfers, baseball, softball, fast pitch. Batter comes up to bat and they strike out. For a golfer, got to come up, got to practice that swing. And sometimes your swing can get off. I think they call it the yips. Get the yips. You have to be able to shake that off. And so if you have all that negative self-talk, if you have all that negative self-criticism, it's hard to shake that off. And that's another reason why we struggle with our goals. Number 11, woo, old habits. They die hard, and sometimes they don't die at all. That is going to take time. If it takes 21 days, allegedly, supposedly, to build a habit, to create a new habit, that's 3 weeks of being consistent. And it may take longer, right? That's probably an average. So, how are you going to break that habit? I see a lot of people that try to make change, and they're doing it in the same environment, in the same situation that we're in. And sometimes we have no choice in that, right? Maybe you're incarcerated, maybe you're at work and you're trying to work on this particular habit, right? So you can't physically take yourself out of the physical environment. And so when you're in there, those habits that you fall prey to over and over again can be very hard for you to break. And that's why you need to have that detailed plan. What are you going to do when you get triggered through anxiety? What are you going to do when you're feeling unmotivated? When you just don't want to go? And I just don't want to do it today. What are you going to do when you have that social pressure? Come on, man, let's go to the club. You know, I told you my story when I first started going to OC so far back when, 97. And my friends and family, they're always partying, right? And they would tease me about it. That was a lot of social pressure to make the decision. I've got to go to school, which means I got to go home and go to bed. That means I've got to go read the chapters. It means I've got to do the homework. It means I've got to study for the quiz. It means I got to study for the test. I can't be out here kicking it with you guys. That's tough. Those old habits. And the longer that we're in that mindset, the harder it's going to be for us to break. And so for many of us, we need to break ourselves out of that situation so that we can make that change, so that we can build those habits, so we can break those bad habits, so we can see the gains, so we can keep our motivation level high. Number 12, no clear why. Sometimes we don't have a real good reason. So if we don't really have a good reason, we're not really committed. I see this a lot. And other people can tell you that you need to do this because it's important. But if you don't see the importance in it, if you don't see the clear reason why you're doing this, it's going to be really hard for you to stay motivated and to continue on. Man, I'm in this job. It's not paying me enough. I need to make more money. This looks like it's a dead end job. I need to do something else, but I want it to be quick, right? This may require me to go to school, do some cross training, do some other things. If I don't want to just switch to another position and be in the same situation, if I'm stagnated in my professional growth, I need to do something different so that I can continue to ascend and try to keep up with inflation. What is your reason why? Is it just more money? Because sometimes when it's just, well, I think I need more money. I want more money. I want to pay off bills. I want to be able to buy things. My kid's birthday, whatever it is, holidays. And we say it's money. But really what it is that you need financial stability. You just think you need money to get through the thing that's in front of you now, but you're not really thinking long term, and so you don't have a clear reason why. And so you might do something really quick to get you through so that you can do the birthday party at Defy. But then after that, your commitment's kind of gone to be on that growth set, right? Because again, that's often a lifestyle change. There's work that has to be done to that. And that can be very difficult to sustain. 13, whoo, boy. 13, competing priorities. Man, there's so much to do right now. How do we balance what we want to do with our existing obligations? This can be tremendously overwhelming. Look, I do want to do this. This is important. I want to lose weight. I want to stop smoking cigarettes. I want to start working on this aspect of my life. I want to professionally or personally develop. But man, I got to go to work. I'm taking care of my family. I'm in school already. How can I balance and pull something else in that is critically important, understanding that these things too are also important? And again, that goes along with accountability. Maybe you're trying to get your finances in order, your budget in order. And we'll hear people say, oh, just cut off your Netflix and you won't be short on food. But we're intellectually honest people here. So we understand that that really needs to have a deeper conversation. Where are those wasteful spots in your spending? Where is the emotional spending? I'm gonna get on my soapbox just for a second, then I'll jump back off. I hate terminology, financial literacy, generational wealth is one that really just sticks in my craw. Because honestly, um, you know that it's a bunch of, and it just drives me so crazy. It's a buzzword, generational wealth. But the birthday parties that Defy that you really can't afford, but you want to have it for your kid. You want to have it because, well, you didn't have it when you were growing up and you want to be able to give your kid the best and give them what they want. You're going to the club. You're going out. I got to do something to have fun. I got to have a release. Yeah, you do. Well, I just love sneakers. Whatever it is. True generational wealth means sacrifice of the present generation. So if any of these programs are telling you, oh, it's generational wealth, and we're going to teach you this, we're going to teach you that, and they're not telling you that you're behind, you're in the dirt, and that if you're truly trying to create some kind of generational wealth and have something for the next generation, that means that you are going to sacrifice now. And keeping up with the Joneses is one of the biggest ways that generational wealth is just capped. Competing priorities. You want to save to buy a car. You want to save to buy a house. You want to save to put your child in college. You want to save for whatever it is. You want to make sure when you die that your children are going to be okay. But that life insurance policy is $300 a month. That would be the generational wealth, right? But you can't find that $300. What is it that you're going to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice the Christmas with all the toys under the tree? because you know that as they go into adulthood, that home ownership is becoming more and more of a statistical anomaly in regards to being a homeowner for your child or your grandchildren. That's tough. That's hard. But we're talking about priorities and those priorities and how they compete. Last thing I'll say on that, I've told you the story about my daughter, and I think it was her first real Christmas when she kind of had some ideas. Maybe she was 2 or 3 of what's going on. And we went crazy. Mom, dad, grandparents, uncle, so many gifts under the tree. And she actually cried. She was so overwhelmed. And the thing that she played with and liked the most was a box. And so we put that onto our children. Just want you to keep that in mind, right? We are the teachers. We are the first teachers. So if you teach your children to value the material things and not saving, then you've got conflict. True story? All right. Off my soapbox. Number 14, lack of support. This one is a hard one too. And a lot of us are very stoic. A lot of us are very personal and private. But a lot of times we want to go it alone. We're working on something that could be embarrassing to us, right? Man, I need to lose weight. I don't really want to go on that journey with someone. I don't want them to see me sweating and struggling and cramping up and all that stuff. You know, I don't want that person to tell me, hey, 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 you're about to smoke that cigarette. Don't, because I really want it right now. And I'm not a child, so don't talk to me like that. But we need support. So a lot of times we just think, well, I dug myself in this hole. I just need to dig myself out of it. And so we go it alone. And when it gets hard, when we need that motivation, come on, come on. I know you don't want to go. Come on. And if you've ever done that, there's been days when I go to the gym. It's like, man, I do not want to go. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm just saying I don't want to go, right? No negative self-talk, but it's there. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then when you're halfway through your workout, you're like, man, I am so glad that I came to the gym. And when you leave, you feel great because you powered through that negative self-talk and you made the right decision. That is one of the most powerful things that you can do is get through that. And having someone that's there as your support network to help you to stay motivated, to not put obstacles in your way, right? Sometimes you tell folks what your goals are and they actually hurt your goals and they don't help them, right? Like, I know you're trying to work on this, but look at this delicious cake that I know that you love. Hey, I know that you're trying to quit smoking and, you know, right now you're super irritable, but I'm just going to poke the bear because I know you're chewing your tongue and you're really going to want a cigarette. So sometimes that support network might actually be negative. And so you have to be cognizant of that too. And that has to go with your planning. What are you going to do when you have those external forces? Because at the end of the day, as we said before, number 8, you have that lack of accountability because at the end of it, you still have to make the decisions for you, regardless of what's there. Inadequate resources, lack of time, money, or access to resources that can hinder your progress. A lot of folks are like, well, I gotta go to the gym, and if I can't afford a gym membership, so I can't start working out. When a lot of times the main thing you need to do is just get moving, right? You're sitting in your office chair hours and hours and hours per day. Just got to get up and get moving. Take breaks every 50 minutes that you're sitting down. Get up and walk around. Set a timer on your smartwatch or your smartphone to drink a glass of water. Trying to make a game of things that you're doing. If you have your children or whatnot involved, keep track of it. Build in little rewards. So we don't necessarily need to have money. The lack of time. What can I do right now in the minute? I can turn my camera off and I can do 3 or 4 squats and then turn my camera back on. All right, I got a little bit of movement in. Time. Just a quick example. The money piece. And part of that is being realistic, right? Man, I really need a new car, but I need the down payment for it. And I need my monthly payments to be a certain amount, which is not a great time to buy a car right now, by the way. And so some of that is you might have to take some time on that. You might have to explore some alternatives. What are some other ways that you can take advantage of that? I need to save money, but I'm so busy that I'm using Uber Eats. And so now I've got this cyclical issue going on where I'm like, well, I need more money, but I don't have time. So I'm using Uber Eats because I'm saying I don't have enough time to cook and prepare meals. And it's like, okay, well, if I actually sat down and I made a plan, I could do my grocery shopping. And whether I turn on the TV or I turn some music on in the kitchen, I'm going to break down and do my meal prep for the week. Now I don't need to worry about it. And if I can take those decisions away, that also will make my life easier. You ever have those days when you're sitting at your desk and you're like, man, you're hungry, right? It's like, man, I need to eat something. You kind of know what's in your cabinets, you know what's in your fridge. You might even get up after a while and go and look. Man, I don't really want that. I gotta cook that. Man, I don't have time for this. I need to eat. You're getting more and more hungry. You're getting hangry now, right? Well, your lack of time and money can be remedied by doing that food prep and saying, hey, this is what I prepped for myself to eat. And even if I don't really want that right now, one, it's going to save me time because I've already invested the time to prep for it and I can just go ahead and make it and eat it. I'll be satisfied and I can go back to doing what I was doing or go and do the next thing. And it's definitely going to save you money because we make those decisions. Forget it, man. Let's go. Hop in the car. We're going out to eat. Or you're dialing up pizza and you're making a bad choice. And then after, what happens? You're beating yourself up. See, all these things feed each other. Number 17, fear of failure. Fear of failure. You know, some people won't even start goals. And maybe they've had bad experiences in the past, depending on how many revolutions that you've had on this globe. You've had a few resolutions that didn't pan out. They're like, man, I tried this before. I started off really strong, and by February, I was back to smoking the same amount I was before. Matter of fact, I smoke more now than I was before. I quit school. So now that we have this fear of not meeting the expectations, one, it just paralyzes us, right? There's a phrase, analysis paralysis, right? We can overthink things. And we spend so much time thinking about what we need to do and what we want to do that if we just actually use that time to do the thing we were thinking about, it would be done. I think with that also goes the fear of success. A lot of things that we do, whether we do them by ourselves or not, are not hidden, right? Hey, I'm working on trying to decrease my cigarette intake. And other folks know that, right? So if you start being successful, hey, I went from 20 cigarettes a day to 10, and people are watching you, right? It's like, oh man, good job, man. You don't go out on after lunch anymore and smoke a cigarette. That's awesome. But now you've got this fear of success. Now you've got to keep it up, right? So now it's after lunch, and you're like, man, if I don't have a cigarette, I'm gonna do a Mortal Kombat fatality on my coworker. Man, I got to keep it up. I don't want to keep it up. I want to be able to just. That's a hard one. 18. Perceived lack of progress or slow visible progress can definitely lead to doubt and discouragement. Try to remind people that typically the situation that you find yourself in isn't something that happened overnight, aside from a natural disaster, things of that nature. If your finances are out of order, if your health is out of order, if you need to get a new degree or certificate or a new job, these things aren't typically immediate. It's going to take time. It's going to take weeks, months, years. It's going to be a lifestyle change. And we leave out steps in our planning. We say, okay, I'm going to start this journey. I've got my resolution. I'm giving myself this time frame to get it done. And I understand it's going to take me, this is an 18-month program. But see, 3 months in, it's your kid's birthday. It's your anniversary. It's your birthday. And you've been used to a birthday week. You've been used to a birthday month. And now you can't celebrate the way you used to because you've got a money saving goal. So what do? You didn't plan for that. Your homegirls are saying, come on, let's go to Vegas. Could be very difficult. Perceived lack of progress, slow visible progress, doubt and discouragement. Something you may have to do that comes up. And that's going to slow down your progress. I'm doing what I need to do, but December 25th is Christmas and we do celebrate it, and it'll be a little bit more moderate now, but there's still going to be a hit. The groceries are going to increase because the kids are home from school during that time frame. So they don't have school lunch. So it's going to slow down a little bit. My savings aren't going to be at the same level. Everyone's home and it's the holidays. So there's a bunch of snacks and junk food and everything else. So you have to be cognizant of that. Number 19, all of this can be very overwhelming. We can take on too much at once and definitely feel overwhelmed and give up. And just doing it is an overwhelming proposition. So ask yourself, what is it that you want to do right now? That you either decided to work on at the beginning of the year, something that you want to start working on now, because you don't have to wait till January 1 for a resolution to set a goal. But what is that going to take? Man, how am I going to get in bed at 11 o'clock every night when I'm usually working for at least 90 minutes after 11 because that's when everyone's asleep and I get some peace? How am I going to take this other effort on and get it done? I don't have enough hours in the day. I'm already saving as much as I can, at least I think I am. Now, part of that is that privacy piece, right? Because when it comes to finances, that's one of our most personal things. We don't want to share that with anyone. One, because folks that say that your friend, right? The people that are closest to you are the ones that can hurt you the most, right? So you don't want them to weaponize your financial situation. It's already very embarrassing. And so you don't want to lean on them and let them know what's going on so you can have that support. They might not even know that you're on that goal and they're constantly, come on, girl, let's go. Come on, man, let's go down here. Let's go and do this. And you're like, man, I can't. I've got this set, but they're constantly pushing and pushing and pushing. And they're teasing you and peer pressuring you. And while a lot of people say, "Oh, man, I'm too old to be peer pressured," a lot of us are very easily peer pressured or wanting to keep up with the Joneses. This is what you used to do, but now you can't do that like you did before. You used to post on how your great vacations 2 and 3 times a year were all over Facebook, and now you can't really do that now because you've got new goals that you're setting, whether they're ones that you're setting or ones that have kind of been forced upon you. So now you're kind of retreating a little bit because it's embarrassing, or you're trying to find a way to still portray that that's who you are and that's what you're still capable of doing. That could be very overwhelming. What is that going to do? What is that going to take for you to take on that goal? How am I going to have to change my life? That, man. Number 20, past failures. Man, we know we have a lot of those. Every time we fail, we just stock it up in our memory. Right? Remember, we're our own worst critics. So every time we tried to go to the gym and we made progress and we made the right decision, man, I went to the meeting on Monday, I didn't have the pizza. I went to the meeting on Tuesday, I didn't have the cake. I went to the meeting on Thursday and they had an after dinner party and I didn't have the alcohol. I didn't consume the sugar. There was a birthday party on Saturday and I had the salad. I didn't have the cake. And then that one thing happens and boom, it's gone. I stopped drinking coffee, usually like twice a year for a little bit. It'd be kind of hard to do. But then when I stopped drinking it, it's great. It's like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But then one day, people ask me, hey, man, you want a cup of coffee? And you're not going to tell other people that they can't have coffee around you, right? And for the most part, you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But that one day, it's going to smell so good. You'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and have that cup. And next thing you know, it's 3 months down the road, you've been drinking almost a pot a day, right? Ooh, I might be talking about myself there. But that's a very true story. And you may have some of those of your own, those past failures. So again, it's August. We're halfway through the year. Maybe you started a New Year's resolution that you're no longer working on or that you're kind of hanging on by a thread. I implore you to believe that you do not have to wait till New Year's to start a new resolution. But understanding why they're so difficult may help you into being successful. So, for all of you that have struggled with creating goals to lose weight, to get healthy, to stop smoking, to stop drinking, to get a new job, to train, to become a better parent, to exercise and self care, to save money, to create a policy and a plan for when you pass away so that your children and your grandchildren will have something. Understanding these 20 reasons on why that is so difficult can be the change, the difference that you need to be successful. Now, the really big thing that I actually want you to take away from this, outside of all that other stuff, is this. I want you to think about it's Wednesday, and tonight is city council in the city of Bremerton. And we have one of the biggest things that we talk about all the time are those that are experiencing homelessness on ML King, but it's not just ML King. And we know that a lot of folks that are there and experiencing homelessness throughout the country are struggling with addiction. And I ask you to give grace to those that are fighting addiction. Because many of us are sitting in here very comfortable and can make decisions to set goals that we want and don't have the barriers and the challenges that they have to overcome their addiction. And that those that are able to overcome their addiction in the space that they currently find themselves in is truly a miracle. I'm asking you to be empathetic, sympathetic, have the political will, have the social will to make a change and to make a difference. I truly believe that we can eradicate homelessness in this country. We can start with the city first. But compassion and understanding is one of the biggest catalysts that have to be in place. I hear people that speak at city council meetings and they come off as some of the most unsympathetic people that I've ever heard from. And they'll often say, "Oh, hey, I understand that it's hard. I understand this, but da 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 da." And we know once you put that "but" in there, it negates everything that was said before. So let's talk about it. Just want you to be cognizant of that. So I hope that you can use this not only personally for your own goals, your own resolution, but then also you can think of those that are less fortunate, those that are struggling, those that are suffering. And what it must feel like. I'm high and I'm coming down off of that high. And I know that the withdrawals are the worst pain that humans can feel, even worse than childbirth, according to some. That with the drugs now, that it's killing many people. So I want to quit, but I'm afraid and terrified of the pain. I want to quit, but the dealer is in the tent 2 doors from me. I want to quit, but I have nowhere to go. I want to quit, but I don't have first, last, and deposit. I don't have job history. I don't have rental history. I don't have supports. I want to quit, but it's 90 degrees outside. I want to quit, but it's below freezing. I want to quit, but there's no resources out there. I want to quit, but we're post-COVID, allegedly. And the resources have been exhausted. I want to quit, but there's no detox center close. I want to quit. I want to quit. I'll see y'all in 24 minutes for tipping points and puzzle